Do that this year.
He didn't hang out.
Yeah. Would you like a brownie?
Yeah.
You sure?
Still got it, but it's for sale.
Probably buy it.
You'll love it.
Oh, I know, I should, I would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
Roll call. Derek Muggia,
Present.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
John DeVore,
Here.
Dean Reister.
Here.
Do we get any questions about the minutes? If not, we'll take a motion to approve.
Will we approve?
Second.
Before to approve the June regular meeting minutes, Dean Reister.
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Derek Muggia,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
John DeVore.
Yes.
Same here, approval of the financials. If there's no questions, just get a motion.
I'll make it.
Second.
On the floor to approve the June financial report, Jason Franks,
Yes.
John DeVore,
Yes.
Derek Muggia,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
and Dean Reister.
Yes.
No visitors this evening. George is not here currently, so. Police reports and jump over to the admin report.
I did not send you a report this month because it's a little detailed, but I would like to read and give you an update, which I think you may find interesting. And I'm gonna read it so that I don't miss anything. Much of the work we do as a village happens out of sight, often at ground level or below grade. We invest substantial resources into repairing water lines, maintaining streets, and addressing the everyday infrastructure needs that keep our community functional. These efforts may not be glamorous, but they are essential. They form the foundation on which all future growth depends. Major infrastructure funding. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce or to share a significant progress in the long-term infrastructure planning. Our village has been ranked number 4 statewide to receive funding through the Ohio EPA WSLRA grant program in its draft form, with awards scheduled in October this year. For our water treatment plant, we are positioned to receive $4 million in grant funding, with the remaining balance financed at 40 years, 0% interest, which is one of the most favorable funding packages available anywhere in Ohio. Since before becoming your administrator 5 years ago, we have secured $5,864,817 in grant funding. In addition, we have submitted an application for $750,000 in CDB grants for the water treatment plant. Based on our standing, we are in a strong position to receive this award, expected between mid-September and early October. We will also apply for grant funding through OPWC in the amount of $500,000, with an additional $500,000 at 0% for 30 years for Canal Street project. These achievements would not have been possible without the dedicated efforts of Jones and Henry, which is Jake Mendering and Pete Latta, Dennis Miller and SD Blair of Maumee Valley Planning, Tim Copsey from Paulding County Economic Director, and then of course Kevin Hornish, who has to manage all the ins and outs of the finances. It is also important to note that our total grant fund figure does not include the $2.3 million for the Antwerp Square, which recently was approved by council, and then it's a pass through the village. Each partner played a key role in securing these opportunities. Over the past 2 years, we have placed a strong emphasis on economic development that culminated in the sale of the depot property. Based on the most recent tax receipts, Kevin and I are confident that this new revenue stream will cover approximately 50% of the monthly payment for the water treatment plant. This progress was only possible because of the forward-thinking council and mayor who have consistently supported strategic decisions that strengthen our long-term financial stability. Upcoming projects that you can look forward to is Wentworth and West Canal, new storm and water line replacement. That's going to be probably broken into 2 phases because of grant funding cycles. So we hopefully will do Wentworth first, because that will be the lesser of the 2. And then we would do Canal Street in 2027. Riverside Park Pavilion, the one that everybody rents, will be replaced with a new structure. We received 58,000 from the state capital budget. I'm just waiting for the information from the state on the actual grant process. Safe route to schools for Cruise Street, that was $383,217. That'll be concluded in the early 4th quarter of 2027. Of course, the treatment plant, and then Mervyn Street will have all new water lines. They're about done. And then they'll do a full depth reclamation, which is scheduled in 2027, and that'll have a new street. These projects represent visible, meaningful improvements, investments our residents will experience every day. And then just in closing, I want to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who assisted our village in securing these funds. The collaboration between our partners, our administration, and this council has made these accomplishments possible. The end.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Are you gonna send that out to us or not? Do we have a copy?
Do you want a copy of it?
Mhm.
I'll give it to Kevin and he can send it out.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yes.
Excellent.
The good thing is on the water treatment plant, and we know it's 8.4 million was the original engineer's estimate. That obviously it will have gone up simply because of the fact of how long it's been. We know that Jones and Henry to do the site work and be on site during the construction phase is another 500,000. So we figured at 10 million with 4 million in grant funding, financing the 6 million, our payment would only be approximately $125,000 a year. So. Excellent.
Good news.
And half of that, thinking half of that would be paid through the.
Assuming that the tax revenue off the adult use cannabis stays where it's at currently, yeah, it'll be close to 50% of that will almost be covered by the cannabis
Nice.
revenue.
Good stuff.
Very.
Excellent news. All right, well, good luck beating that with your committee reports, but we have some committee reports, I think. Whoever would like to go first, I mean,
I'll probably do both here.
okay.
First one, the zoning, met in regards to the plat approval for the Antwerp Square project. That is one of the ordinances, we are reading. And, ultimately, this is fairly detailed, but we only had one thing that we didn't want to approve, but that was resolved, in the update that we got today, for the ordinance. So if there's any question, I'd be willing to answer. In other words, it looks like we're moving forward with this new submission. It seems to agree with the committee.
I haven't had a whole lot of time to review the minutes of that. Is there a brief summary of what you can give us on what actually changed with this meeting?
Sure. So they applied with some roadway variances, compared to our normal standards. Actually, I think some of their standards that they wrote, we need to adopt in our own ordinance because they have some more up-to-date suggestions to us, typical of ODOT. So there were some road grades, road width variances, all match 36 feet to 24-foot wide roads, which I think that's probably better than most of the side streets here in Antwerp anyway. So all those roadway variances, we approved because they didn't seem out of the normal for the town. Then there were the single family lots that they had, so, minimum width was 50 foot wide by about 120 foot deep, so those all kind of match our expectations for single family lots. That was in the variance list they gave us when we actually physically reviewed the plat. There were some issues, approximately 28 lots that were below that 50 foot minimum. And
That's-
that was their primary concern of what those were.
Is that where I'm seeing that they won't be required to file for a variance? They'll just be granted to be able to build on that? Is that what I was seeing in the
Well,
ordinance?
right now, we did not approve those lots specifically, which is what that ordinance update was, to move in and say, hey, we approve everything in the plat, but those items. One of the biggest issues we took was we just don't know. We need to see some sort of proof of concept, 20 foot wide lot. What can go there?
A 20-foot wide lot?
Yes, they are next to each other, so we were trying to figure out what that could be. The math wasn't mathing for us,
Okay.
so we just need to see some sort of concept. Kudos to Ryan and John Wick. He's supposed to be, he was one of the visitors, but they've been pretty receptive to
Okay.
that. So they say they've done this before, and we just want to see. So we
Okay.
were uncomfortable giving our blessing for that, regardless of
Parking
what came
space.
out today. Yeah, what
And
the
I-
parking looked like.
And I talked to John last night and he said, look, he says, to be honest with you, we don't really even know what we're going to put on those lots.
Yeah.
Conceptually, we want condominiums,
Yes.
but he said, we know that we owe you a proof of concept and we're more than agreeable with the process that you're moving forward with.
Yeah, so far the communication, Mark Greenwood has had, obviously, Brian's had, guys have been great working with us in that, but just wasn't quite enough to get us out of that funk on that. Especially the word condominium. I think we may have some weakness in our own zoning ordinance for that particular type
Structure.
of housing structure, so.
Okay.
So overall, we said everything looked good except for those minimum lots, and that has been, for my review, has been reflected in this updated ordinance.
Okay.
Another concern that we had, if you look at the present map, they have the first street running north and south was supposedly going to connect with sewer plant drive. Their street stops at their property line. There's that 30, I think it's a 35-foot easement at the village owns between that property and sewer plant drive. So it's, I think the council needs to kind of kick this around. Do we want that street stopped there, the dead end street? Or do we want it to continue on to the water plant drive street? And if so, do we need to redo water plant drive street to accommodate it and what that's gonna look like? I think if we wanted to do it, would be to contact the contractor at the time they put in their street to complete that other part of it, but that depends. That was one of the issues we kicked around, but it's nothing to do with the ordinance because it's on their property's good, but it's what the village is gonna do after that fact. Or whether we're gonna connect it to the water plant drive or what that's gonna look like in the future.
It's something to keep in mind. That influence of traffic. Maybe.
I would think you'd want 2 points of egress, even though they would be close together.
Any other questions for zoning or the?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Is the plan then that this plat goes back to the developer to fix the lots that are under minimum width and or provide you guys something that satisfies you with their proposed use? Or
That, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but, my opinion is right now, we need, if they can show us a proof of concept, floor plans, what is the intent with those lands and Obviously, maybe John and them aren't entirely sure yet themselves, but yeah, we were just looking for a proof of concept. It's not necessarily that those are off the table.
Okay.
It's just,
So zoning will take a further action once they've been provided, once you guys have been provided something.
Yeah, as far as the drawing, we really don't have anything to do with that one way or another. It's. If this ordinance is passed in the form that it presently is,
Mhm.
then that'll go to the people, the contractor or and they'll have to, jockey around to satisfy the auditor's office and engineering. I don't know we don't know what that looks like or what the procedure would be for that.
But we need to do what we need to do to keep things moving,
correct, absolutely.
and then we'll sort it out later.
Yeah, we were cognizant of what this project means, but we didn't want a long-term issue to occur.
I did talk to Lana and she said those, like the 20-foot lots were like, considered like duplexes or the kind of, so you can't, obviously a duplex, you can't sell. You have to sell the half a lot, but you can't build a half a duplex. So that's why it was broken into those two. So essentially it's a 40-foot, but it has two duplexes, but it's two separate lots that were 20. But obviously that again falls under the 50, but that's why it looked like that. And again, it was just an initial concept to kind of get us moving forward. Yeah. And so.
Design, build.
Well, another issue we was concerned about was the homeowner association. If you're gonna have 6 duplexes under one roof, who's gonna be responsible when that roof needs to be replaced? Are they gonna have that set up as some sort of a fund that each person pays into to when that comes due?
When I
It's
talked-
done, or
When I
the whole-
talked with them, if I'm not mistaken, that whole area was gonna have a homeowners association and there was gonna be dues.
Yeah, that's what, one of
But
the
I mean-
concerns that we had was,
Yeah.
property maintenance. Who's gonna take care of the mowing around the lagoons and that kind of stuff, those are all gray areas that have never been defined yet.
No, this is all new process for Dark Village.
Okay, if you guys are good on that one, I think John's up again.
Yeah, utilities meeting. At on the 25th of June. This was our second meeting, kind of going over ordinance and contracts related to utilities. For most part, decisions that we feel need to happen is no individual contracts and apply the ordinance, today as written to everybody. And not provide special contracted rates. It's kind of the decision we feel moving forward is how we're gonna view, the utility rates, the structure. Recommend ordinances. I have added a pretty in-depth presentation supplemental to these meetings. That kind of go into the detail of the math and what we are seeing. It's not exact. There's assumptions and there's just things that are very difficult to capture, both hard and soft costs, but it is using data, available to us. I made sure all the data that you're looking in there is explicitly from even our council packets, the financial statements there. So it may be a little lower in terms of cost recovery, but there's just some users that we're not recovering the costs that we're providing. And we need to start to remedy that. As for the rest of the village, we still have some input on where the rest of the village needs to go to moving forward for 2027. Since we've held from 2025 to 2026, some other actions utility is going to have to determine is how much, what type of raise or additional fee or restructuring do we need to do for 2027. So I think our goal will be to bring something to council to get readings on next year and get those rates established. So there's still a little bit more work to do. But for right now, this meeting covered a very large user in trying to bring them more in line with the rest of the other billing codes. So if there's any questions, let me know. It's a lot of in-depth. I don't know. Giving it in a committee report is very difficult. There's a lot of stuff there, but I will get it.
Well, John, I just want to commend you on the presentation that you provided with us because it is eye-opening. And it definitely gives us a lot to look at and probably information that none of us have ever actually realized. I think you did a fantastic job with this.
Yep, just, yep, as long as we have the asterisk that this is just a more, it's in-depth, but it's still pretty high level and there's a lot of missing pieces, but the signals are there, right? We got a pretty good bird's eye view of what's happening as we wrap our, our hands around this stuff, so.
I think you provided a lot of evidence for our case on doing what we're gonna suggest we do with the billing of the outside of the village contracts and stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah, the loss is pretty substantial.
Well, it's a case we can definitely take to the people that we're gonna contract with for provide service to.
Costs are only going to rise, right? So.
Yeah, and we're gonna incur a pretty big expense to redo the treatment plant, so
Mhm.
it's all gotta be taken in account of.
There questions on that?
I had just one question, and it's,
Mhm.
in the past, when contracts were established, they were based off of quantity of water used, and that's why they kind of give them a break on cost per thousand. Because, you and I don't know how many we normally use, but if you take that times 20 and then at the same cost, and they're actually gonna be paying a lot more for what they're doing just because of the volume of it.
You're not wrong. So yes, okay. So what makes this math so difficult is that's the denominator of that's part of the equation, right? The larger the denominator, the smaller the money goes, and we understand how much they're providing in revenue. But when you look at usage, this particular user uses quite a bit of water, but in their generation to the revenue is not adding relative to the rates that they were, that are contracted, right? When you start applying ordinance, it starts to balance. Now, my expectation isn't to be 1-to-1. Because of, like you said, the use over time would make that unfair. But I think we have to start treating those users, we're taking more burden than they are.
Yeah.
I'm trying to spread that burden appropriately, fairly possible when looking at those numbers, and that's, the committee's goal as well, right? Especially, it's hard when you talk about people, there's incorporated and there's outcorporated use, out of the corporation users too. And we also have to keep in mind the difference between those two, in addition to all these other rates we have. I think that might be a discussion to have, is what buckets do we actually have? Because we have quite a few buckets. Can we align those too? So there's a lot of work. At this point, I think I feel good with the direction of this meeting, and then the rest is just an Excel spreadsheet. We should knock out some of those rates in a line. So I am cognizant of that, though.
Thank you.
The tiered rates like that were a discussion point briefly, but that also adds a lot of complexity. I don't know if it's necessary yet, and we may not be in the clear. This may be something we get a few years of data, maybe we reevaluate. I don't know. We can always do that, but for now, I think we need to align to our ordinance as much as we can. The opinion of the committee.
We concur.
Thank you.
No more questions, then we will head to the fiscal officer report.
First thing I have tonight is third reading of ordinance 2026-06. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer to enter into a contract with Crane Township providing emergency medical services calendar year 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, and 2031.
Move we approve.
Second.
Motion on the floor to approve ordinance 2026-06. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Derek Maggio,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
John DeVore.
Yes.
Next item that I have is, third reading of ordinance 2026-08. This is an ordinance accepting the annexation of certain real property located adjacent to the village.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2026-08. Derek Maggio,
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
and John DeVore.
Yeah.
The next item is the second reading of ordinance 2026-12. That is an ordinance amending section 2 of ordinance 2017-08, an ordinance allowing inspections of golf carts and other underspeed vehicles by the police department of the village of Antwerp, Ohio, to increase the inspection fee for non-residents of the village. Next item is second reading of ordinance 2026-14. This is an ordinance to continue retaining the services of Brandon Grigsby with the law firm of Hopkins, Schroeder and Von Sassen LLC, Ottawa, Ohio, as solicitor for the village of Antwerp, Paulding County, Ohio.
How you feeling, Brandon? Still want to stick around?
He loves us.
I wanted to do a Dean beat me.
Okay, then we move into the emergency reading of ordinance 2026-15, which was discussed by John during the zoning committee report. This is an ordinance accepting the plot of Antwerp Square Phase 1 to the village of Antwerp, Paulding County, Ohio, and declaring the same an emergency. Entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Or to suspend the rule of 3 readings regarding ordinance 2026-15. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Derek DiMaggio,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
and John DeVore.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to adopt.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2026-15. John Ganger,
Yes.
Derek DiMaggio,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
John DeVore,
Yes.
and Dean Reister.
Yes.
Last item that I have this evening is ordinance 2026-16. Brian, do you want to give council a brief update on this before we have the reading?
Yeah, it's just the facility on West River that used to do dog grooming. My husband and wife had acquired it and they're turning it into a home. And kind of went around and around with the auditor a couple of months ago. They wanted to have an ordinance saying that it was no longer a business and that, you know, it was a home and stuff. And I said, well, the people are telling you it's a home, it's a home. I said, it meets the definitions of our zoning code. And I don't understand this. So anyways, we talked. I actually thought it was all taken care of. And she called me today and she goes, no, I still been arguing with them. They won't go in and change the tax code. So they're being charged for taxed as a business, even though it is a residence. So we're doing this to placate the auditor, but as Bill had mentioned before the meeting, we had the old doctor's office, people bought it, turned it into a house. I never got a phone call, never got a question. So I think they've had some people retire and new people in the auditor's office. And I think that for that reason, we're having this issue tonight.
I move we suspend the rules of 3 readings.
A second.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules of 3 readings in regards to ordinance 2026-16. Dean Reister,
Yes.
John DeVore,
Yes.
Derek DiMaggio,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
Jason Franks. Okay.
Yes.
So now we'll have the reading. Ordinance 2026-16, an ordinance accepting the change in real property use classification of 303 West River Street in the village of Antwerp, Ohio, from commercial to single-family residential and declaring the same an emergency.
Move we approve?
Second.
Motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2026-16. Dean Reister,
Yes.
John DeVore,
Yes.
Derek DiMaggio,
Yes.
Dave Boylan,
Yes.
John Ganger,
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
That's all I have this evening.
On to old business, if anyone has any. On to new business, if anyone has any.
I suppose I'll reiterate, I think the agenda, at least for utilities committee for the next council meeting, is to try to bring something forward so Brandon can draft up the water rates ordinance. We can get that in place. So my goal is hopefully it should be done by next meeting. So
Start 3 readings on it then.
start our 3 meetings on go.
Because I think if we read it September, October, November, it takes 30 days to kick in, so then it'll be good by the end of for the year. So that's the plan of the committee or whatever, to have it ready by August.
Do you know when the contract for Paragon is?
December 31st.
December. So basically, we wouldn't have another contract with them. They would just fall under utility rates.
The current ordinance, yeah.
That was one thing where I guess we did want to make sure that they would just fall under the appropriate category that they would be in under the
Yeah,
ordinance.
because we extended the contract to them. It wasn't binding obligation.
All right, mayor's reports. Village, $888 to the state, 300. Falling court, $12 for a total of $1,200. And I would just, I don't know if you guys have checked out like the root beer stand open now and the front porch fuel. Obviously we still have Hops Neo. We lost the Chop Shop, which was a hit. I know we went there a decent amount. I know it seemed like a lot of people did, so I just encourage you to keep, if you haven't checked out these new businesses, and I know a lot of you guys have, but just in general, keep checking them out, keep supporting them, because we want to continue to grow with the rest of these projects and have reasons for people to come to the village, so that is all I have, my friends.
We're doing a great job at the A&W.
Yeah.
It's the old A&W.
Yeah, it's Graham's now.
Root beer stand or
Graham's
Graham-
root beer stand or
Graham,
whatever,
yeah.
and I know so, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, they have been, and that's same front porch fuel, I think
Oh,
she's done amazing. I know John has said he was going there every day.
I go there way too much at this point.
And I do it like the last hour of the
Everything looks
week.
good. I haven't been up there yet.
The last hour of the week when they close, like everything goes half price and stuff like that, cause they don't want food to go to waste, so like, it's a cool little thing too, if you're around, and everything I've had is good, so.
They rotate weekly too. They
Yeah,
rotate the meals
yeah,
weekly.
changing up, so.
Definitely recommend the smoothies. Can't go wrong. Have
All right, my friend.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.